What's up, everybody? It's been a little while since I've done a plant tour video. Let's do it. See what's popping. All right, over here got the VCI bench. Uh, been little note about the plants here in general. Been a little neglectful in terms of watering and fertilizer. So you'll see some plants are kind of showing the signs of that. VCI, when they turn red like this, it's because they're getting a lot of light. Um, but you need to balance that light out with adequate fertilizer. And you can see I've not been doing that too much, but pictures still look pretty nice on it. This is VCI number 5 Cross the Wave from Carnivoro. Nice little picture there. Um, Got a nice little VCI Barrio. This one's from Red Barn Carnivores on one of the imports that they did a few years ago. Got a VCI K1 from Mike Phelan. This is a cutting of his female plant. It's kind of a bush right now because it's got two growth points. One right here, one back here. Got a little faded picture on it. This guy's nice. This is a VCI M. This is the new Grex from Exotica Plants. I've had this for a little while. That one's looking great. Next to that, got the Premium Exotics 2019 Grex of VCI. Killer plant. This one's got a nice little basil, so that's looking really good. Next to that, of course, we got Candy Dreams. Looking real nice. This is an aged pitcher. Also have a nice little basil pitcher growing right here. And this is another basil that I separated on it this back in July. So you know what I'm going to be doing with that. Trying to find another nice VCI to trade that guy for. Let's see. This is a VCI M1 cross M3, originally bred by Mike Phelan. This is my favorite one of the 3 plants that I got. Definitely keeping this. Got a nice squat red pitcher body, good color on the peristome. Awesome plant. Got a nice VCI Big Mama cross pink candy cane from Carnivoro back here. This plant is super slow for me. This was one of the first VCI that I got. I think I got it as an extra small though, so it's pretty small. But as you can see, hasn't grown too much. Just a very slow grower. Next to that, got a Akuzukin cross Barrio. That one from Wise Exotics. Don't really have any good pictures on it right now. This is the only non-VCI here on the bench. This is a Truncata C. Grex from Exotica Plants. Snagged this from a private grower on Facebook Marketplace. So I was able to get a pretty good size plant here. Here's what the old picture looks like. Got a couple other VCI on here. There's 3 Maroon Stripe Cross Candy. They don't look the greatest. They've kind of suffered the most of my underwater and under fertilization neglect, but they're still looking decent. Got a nice little picture coming in back there. Beneath this, I got a couple of medium and large size plants down here. Here we've got a nice Maxima campanulata growing there. This behind it is Nepenthes Fairyland, which is Sanguinea crossed with Clipiata from Lowland Nepenthes. Shout out to Sarah at Pet Neps Nursery, who's able to get me a cutting of this. Back here I've got let's see, this is a Lowii cross Edwardsiana that I got from Wistuba. Got a nice big picture coming in here. Plenty good healthy leaf jumps. I'm actually going to be downsizing my collection considerably. I'm probably going to sell about 40% of my plants here in the springtime. This might be one of those plants, so if you're interested in anything that you see in the video, shoot me a message. You know, I always post stuff on my Instagram and over on the Facebook Carnivorous Plant Marketplace groups and some of the other selling groups that are out there. So keep an eye out for stuff that I might be selling here. Behind that, we got a nice Berbigiae cross Raja, otherwise known as Alesis butrana. It's a nice sized plant. Back here, I got a nice cutting of Truncata cross Lingulata. So this is obviously very small for how big this plant is going to get. I think this is a basal cutting, so that should be huge. Let's see. Got this Truncata dubia back here. This is a weird plant. I got this on the Wistuba order in the summer, and I kind of forgot that I ordered it, and it was fairly cheap. I don't know what came over me when I ordered it. It's basically, I mean, it's just going to look like a large dubia. I don't know. Kind of a weird hybrid, but I'll probably end up getting rid of it. Next to that, though, this is one of my favorite plants on this bench. This is Nepenthes attenburyi. This is a BCP clone. Nice dark red coloration. I've got a Wistuba clone up here. Hoping to get some of those lighter colored pictures with maybe more pronounced striping on it, but we'll see what that looks like. This plant here, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but it's this guy, I guess I'll try Hemaguitanensis. I don't know. You can let me know how bad my pronunciation was in the comments. They don't really look like much on the lowers. It kind of looks like a Nepenthes gaea. But the uppers are really what this plant is known for. So it's growing at a pretty good rate. So hopefully we'll get uppers here in maybe a year or so. Let's see. This is another one of my Veitchii M1 cross M3 from Mike Phelan. I tried to sell this plant a couple of times. No one really wanted to buy it. I have no idea why. It's got awesome coloration, great peristome colors too. I might end up just keeping it if no one wants to buy it. It's a pretty nice plant. This bush right here, this is Veitchii lowii from Wistuba. This is clone 1. I believe the only clone that they sell. It has like 6 basals on it, and I've already separated 2 or 3. This thing just pumps basals out like crazy. I should probably separate more of these so the plant can focus more energy on the main growth rather than just putting out infinite number of basals. Probably a result of the TC hormones. Next to that, got kind of a cool one. This is Lowii cross Inermis, another one from Wistuba that I got recently. Great coloration. This one should be super interesting when it starts making uppers. Got a couple Truncata over here. This is kind of my medium-sized Truncata area. Got a Wistuba from Mindanao. I've got a Premium Exotics here. Actually, I have 2 Premium Exotics ones. In the back, that's the Borneo Exotics Pasian Highland Truncata. So here's what the Mindanao looks like. This is an old picture. It's growing pretty quickly. Got another nice picture on the way. Here's one of the PE Truncata. Truncata is kind of hard to know what it's going to look like at a juvenile form. They go through pretty considerable change, so they look pretty nice though. But this Pasian Truncata from BE is such a slow grower. I've had this for several years now, and it's barely grown at all for me. But it's a nice one, I guess. Then this is an interesting one. This is not one that I see many people growing. This is Platykyla cross Raja. Got this from the folks over at Bergen Water Gardens. This is a BE plant. If you've seen anything that EP has put out, they've done a little bit of breeding with Platykyla Raja hybrids. And so the lowers, as most know with Platykyla and its hybrids, they're not really much to look at. But when it starts producing those uppers, I'm hoping you just basically get like a gigantic platykyla. So that should be neat. Moving along over here, I kind of have some larger plants and also some of my vining plants. So let's kind of swing through this bench. We got a lot of my Sumatran toilet bowls, like Jamban right here. That one looks really nice. Got another nice picture coming in here. Flava right next to that. This is a cutting I got from Wistuba over the summer. Got a couple of pictures coming in on that. Let's see, got a Nermis right here. Pictures don't last very long on a Nermis, so this is the only thing I've got cooking right now. Glabrata. This one I got as a cutting from Todd's Tropicals. If you're wondering why it's got multiple growth points right now, it's came in with mites, unfortunately. So it just recently recovered and started pitching again for me. But unfortunately, I had to chop off all the other growth. Next to that, we got a cool plant. This is Platykyla lowii, I believe from Christian Klein. This plant actually just flowered for me, flowered male. So I was lucky enough this year to have 2 Nepenthes flower for me. These are my first 2 Nepenthes ever to flower. I got this one and that one over there. That one back there is female, this one is male, so I did a little bit of crossing between the two. And sent some pollen off to a couple other growers. So hopefully, some cool stuff might come out of this. We'll see. Got a Viking Cross lowii. This is from Wise Exotics over in Japan. Kind of a slow grower, but working on a nice new pitcher for me. Back here, this is a Truncata Cross Afipiata. I got as a cutting from my buddy Guillermo. Working on a nice new pitcher there. As you all know, Truncata Afipiata is a huge freaking plant. That's part of the reason why I gotta make some more room in here is I have all these plants that are just gonna continue to get larger and larger, and I need room for expansion. So gotta make some sacrifices here and there, but it's for the greater good. And then down here in front, speaking of giants, we got a couple of giants loaded up here. On the left, we've got Truncata Morelliana from Exotica Plants. And in the middle, we have Truncata Veitchii. So this Truncata Morelliana, I got it as a cutting from Todd's Tropicals. And then the Truncata Veitchii I got from Premium Exotics, but I believe it originated from Exotica Plants. This Truncata Morelliana, massive, absolutely massive. It's a female plant, so hopefully at some point this flowers for me and I can cross it with some other cool stuff. You can see got a really good leaf span going right here. You can kind of see on the older leaves had some nutrient deficiencies, but I think I've kind of been able to correct that. I've been experimenting with using Nutricoat pellets in the soil of some of my plants. So this was one that I've been doing Nutricoat in, and I've also just been cramming the pitchers full of Nutricoat as well, which is why a lot of my plants have burnt pitchers. But it's been putting out some really good growth, and it doesn't seem to be having the same nutrient issues that the previous ones were having, although this recent leaf is looking a little yellow, so I don't know. Might still be some stuff I have to work out. Then over here, last one on this bench, I've got Raja Cross-Rep Cantley, of course, the one and only from Borneo Exotics. Recently repotted into this 9-inch basket, so set it back a little bit. I had to do a hard repot on it, but Raja and its hybrids really appreciate a large substrate space, so hopefully that'll pay off down the road. Below this is kind of my small and extra small area. Have a smattering of some random things in here. I'm not going to look at everything, but just some of the interesting ones. Got Veitchii A. Grex from Red Leaf. Not quite as nice coloration on this as I've seen from some other individuals from that Grex, but still should be a decent plant in its own respect. Got a nice BE 3734. You can see very similar coloration on between the two plants. Then over here I've got a VGI B Grex, also from Red Leaf Exotics. That's the last picture. Got it as a free plant in one of my orders, I think, a while back. But here, this is probably one of my most exciting VGI. This is Candy Cross Candy from Christian Klein over in Germany. Every plant I've seen from this Grex has been amazing. And he's been doing some additional generations of this cross. Really great plant. This is from Lance over at Plants That Eat. Got some really good coloration on the body. Excellent peristome coloration, so should be a pretty solid plant. Got a couple clones of Aphipiata from Gunung Raya out of Westuba. This is clone 4 back here. You can see it's got quite a few pictures on it. Holds a lot of pictures, grows pretty quickly in intermediate conditions. And then I have clone 1 right next to it. Fewer pictures on it, but the pictures are much larger. It's one thing I've noticed between those two clones. Here I've got a little experiment going on. I have two Raja Velosas right here, otherwise known as Quinabaluensis. So natural hybrid between Raja and Velosa. These are horticulturally produced. One is growing in a cocoa core and cocoa chip mix right here. Seems to be doing pretty well. The other is growing in Akadama. The one in Akadama has been putting out a lot of basils, so I think that's contributing to its stunted growth. I also need to water it. I haven't been as on top of that. So behind that, we've got a nice Nepenthes Lowii Trusmati from Carnivoro. Got the good lid hairs on there. Couple other things. Got Truncata cross VGI. So this is Truncata Rippled Leaf crossed VGI Red Tiger from Red Leaf. Should be a super cool plant once it grows up. Got a nice tenuous cross Mollis from Jeremiah Harris. This one has been a little stunted for a while. I thought it was maybe battling with some pests or something was going on. So I've treated it a few times and it finally seems to be coming out of its funk a little bit, but still kind of keeping an eye on it. This is kind of a funky one. This is Bellii cross Elysis butrana, also from Wise Exotics. Hasn't pictured for me yet, still a very small plant, but you cross a huge plant like Elysis butrana with a super small plant like Bellii, you're probably going to see some interesting things. And then here, this is probably my most exciting plant in my entire collection. This is Nepenthes mirabilis var Kinostoma crossed with Hamada. This is from Carnivoro. I believe a cross that Carnivoro made with another private grower. Super, super exciting. I love Echinostoma. I think it's a super cool plant, very underrated. Definitely my favorite lowland species. And after I'm done going through the plants in here, I'll pop over to my lowland tent and we can take a look at the Echinostoma that I have growing. But you get the weird peristome fingers of Echinostoma crossed with the teeth of Hamada, and you get something, I mean, in theory, that should look pretty funky. I like to say maybe it's going to look like a Hamada that needs braces or something. Just kind of, who knows what's going to happen. All right, and then back over here, got a couple large plants over here. This is my largest Truncata over here. This is just an unnamed Truncata EP Grex from Red Leaf. If I had to guess, either Truncata C or maybe Truncata A, not really sure. Who knows? And then this plant is actually flowering for me. I think it's probably going to be male, but it's still a little small, a little too early to tell. Nice new leaf coming in, nice big pitcher as well. So great plant. Who doesn't love a nice big flowering truncata? Down in front we have Pennywise. This plant, it was vining for me, and then I chopped it after it grew this basil, so I've just been letting the basil grow out. Got a Peter D'Amato back here. This one is pitching in a few areas. Classic plant, very ubiquitous, very common, but I will probably just end up taking a bunch of cuttings of this and selling it and getting rid of the plant entirely. Gotta save room for the stuff that I really, really love and enjoy, like this Lowland cross Clipiata. This is probably one of my favorite plants in the collection. Look at those pictures. Perfect hybrid. Perfect in between both parents, Lowland and Clipiata. And check this out. Look at all that exudate. That is insane. It's even leaving some on the nearby plants. Great grower from me. Got it as a cutting from Premium Exotics. Shout out to Yang Fang running that over there in Taiwan. Got a nice basil coming in on here, so you know what I'm going to be doing with that. A couple other things over here. Veitchii Cross Mira. Love the Mira coloration on this. Have that nice red, orange, pink ombre kind of color to the pictures. Here's what a new fresh picture looks like. If I can get in there. And then this one, like I mentioned, this is flowering here. Got a couple crosses on here. This is Nepenthes Stilistour, which is Truncata cross Hamakua from Lowland Nepenthes. Hamakua, I think, is Thorelii cross Spectabilis, if I remember correctly. I don't think it's the true Thorelii, though, but pictures on this, there aren't any good ones at the moment, but just imagine like a long, slender green truncata, very similar to the Truncata alba from Exotica plants, except of course, oh yeah, there's Campanulata in here. That's why it's a more compact plant. So Hamakua is Thorelii Spectabilis cross Campanulata, and they cross that with Truncata to get this. So very cool plant. Love that it's flowering for me. That was actually one of my goals for this year. I was really hoping that this would be the year that I had a Nepenthes flower for me. And lo and behold, I was lucky enough to have 2 flowers, and even luckier that they were both opposite sexes from each other. So awesome, awesome year. Right over here, we got a nice little Nepenthes Suki. This is, of course, one of the very common clones from Borneo Exotics. Suki is Rafflesiana cross Sibianensis. And I have it in this hanging basket because both parents kind of take up a lot of space. I mean, Rafflesiana is known for having really wide leaf spans, which you can see it inherited here. And then Sibianensis is known for having these really long tendrils, which you can see it also has. So really wide leaf span, really long tendrils. You kind of just need to have a hanging basket for a plant like this. But overall, really nice plant. And then last stop down here, another medium and large area, some extra large plants. Got a nice Nepenthes Gothica, which is of course Sibianensis cross Maxima from Exotica plants. This one right here, this is awesome. This is one of my favorite plants on this bench. This is Veitchii cross Rafflesiana, or actually I think it's the opposite. I think it's Rafflesiana cross Veitchii. Got this as an unrooted cutting from Red Barn a few years ago when they were selling off a bunch of unrooted cuttings to make room. Was able to snag this. Insane color, not only in the peristome, but also the wings and just the body in general. But like I mentioned with Rafflesiana and its hybrids, it kind of inherits that really wide leaf span, so takes up quite a bit of space. But don't think that I'm getting rid of it. I'm definitely keeping this one. So there's an older picture there and one here. Holds on to a lot of pictures, surprisingly, for a lowland hybrid sitting in an intermediate setup. Got a Bachiana veitchii cutting from my buddy Guillermo again. This is an Exotica Plants hybrid that was made a while ago. Really small pictures on it right now, but I mean, from the pictures of the mother plant that Guillermo sent me, this plant is going to get absolutely massive. These two plants back here, these are two different clones of Viking Cross veitchii Barrio from Premium Exotics. One of the best things, in my opinion, to come out of his breeding over there, this plant. This is from the one on the right. Let's see if I can grab one from the one on the left. Here's what these are both aged pictures, of course, but amazing plant. Hope to back cross it again with a veitchii someday, so can keep that nice squat, tubby, stripy picture stuff going on. This right here, this is Nepenthes truncata Highland reddish leaves from Wistuba. Here's the, very, very popular clone. Here's what the most recent picture looks like. Made a pretty good leaf jump lately. Let's see what else. Oh, this one's interesting. I think this is Loea Bachiana veitchii, veitchii maxima, veitchii cross platykyla, or, more simply put, LVB VMV platykyla. I got this from a private grower as kind of an impulse purchase, and I think I might end up selling it. I'm not a huge complex hybrid person. It's a nice plant, but gotta make room. So here, this is definitely a plant I'm keeping. This is Nepenthes burbigiae. This is the Pig Hill clone from Borneo Exotics. Beautiful, beautiful coloration. According to Borneo Exotics and some other growers, maybe a hint of introgression with Raja, but when I look at it, I just see burbigiae and I love it. So awesome plant. This is Nepenthes tivii Red Queen back here. Cutting I got a while ago. Working on some new pictures and stuff. Got two pictures actually opening simultaneously. Behind that, we have Sibianensis cross with Morelliana from Borneo Exotics. This is under the BE code, what is it, BE 4026, I think? Yeah, BE 4026. This is two selected clones. I was fortunate enough to have one of each of the two selected clones sold under this code number. This one is short and fat. The other one is kind of tall and thick. I like to call this one the blob just because of these super circular or spherical pictures that it produces. And then last but not least on this bench, we've got our nice Loei truncata. This is, the other way around. This is truncata D cross Loei trusmati from Carnivoro. Truncata D is more of a red-bodied pitcher truncata, so you can see that redness definitely translates into the pitcher coloration here. So here's a new pitcher that it's working on. Those of you that know this plant know that even though this is fairly large, it's going to get absolutely massive. So got to make room, got to plan for that, got to thin the herd so that these other ones can flourish, because this one is probably pretty underpotted too. And so I'm going to have to up pot this pretty soon into probably like a 1 gallon or maybe even a 2 gallon, give it plenty of room to grow, and then just kind of watch it take off. So otherwise, that is pretty much it. Oh yeah, also, this is a little tank I've got with some recent acquisitions from Wistuba as well. So got to make room for those. Got some cool stuff in here. But yeah, that's what my intermediate tent is looking like in here. So hang on 1 minute and I'm going to pop over to my Lowland tent and we'll close this out. All right, this is the Lowland tent. I'm probably going to be getting rid of most everything in here You know, again, just for the sake of making space and downsizing my collection, but cool things worth looking at in here. This is Nepenthes albo marginata. This is a cross between two red forms that I got from Pet Neps Nursery. Again, shout out to Sarah. Super dark leaves, though. You would almost think it's one of the black albo marginatas clones that are out there, but that's what you get when you cross two red forms, I guess. Back here, got a nice Nepenthes Caesar. Pretty good leaf jumps on it. No pictures at the moment, but it is kind of working on one back there. And the fogger is on, so I'll try to make this quick. The real gem jewel of this tent in here is my Nepenthes mirabilis var echinostoma. So this is without a doubt one of my all-time favorite species, if definitely my favorite lowland species, if not favorite species of all time. Gotta love those peristome fingers on it. Just an awesome plant. I don't know why there's so many haters out there on this plant. Some people think it looks kind of messed up, but I don't know. If you're a hater on this plant, you can kick rocks. I love it. But that's it. All right. Thanks for watching.